Hey, welcome everybody to Driven Unscripted Podcast. I'm Michael Mannino. This is Caroline Baker. She's going to show us some insights and tricks of the trade for what she does for a living. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Thank you, Michael. Very nice to be on this podcast. So I'm Carolina. I am on this podcast all the way from Portugal.
Really?
And I'm what they call, I'm what they call like a digital nomad, but not entirely. So we tend to move around every 3 to 4 years. And we enjoy the culture. We love experiencing what a country has to offer. And then we pack our bags and we move to the next location. So it's a digital nomad, but with a little less, I'm not hopping from one place to the other every 6 weeks. So yeah, I am a coach, and I mostly focus on workplace wellness. So people that are in a toxic environment, toxic work environment, and are experiencing the trauma from that, or people that have been in a toxic work environment and that have left that environment physically, but are still emotionally, mentally, and spiritually attached to those experiences, obviously, because those are not things that you get over quickly and easily.
Gotcha.
That's good for an introduction.
That's a crazy introduction. It's the first one I had where you're nomadic. That is super cool. I just got back from Japan and I couldn't imagine doing that for more than once a year. It's super cool and crazy. You mentioned a little bit about your business. Could you tell me a little bit more about it? Where you focus on and what your target audience is?
So my target audience, I tend to believe that I attract the right people. And so I put it out there and I put my opinion out there. I put my content out there. And because of that, I seem to attract certain people. And as my content changes, my experience changes, and sometimes I'm doing a training, which makes me talk about more about one thing than the other. Mm-hmm. I tend to put different types of content out there. At this moment, mostly the people that are coming to me for coaching are people that are starting their business or have started their business for a year, more or less, maybe 2, and have found that they got a sudden drop in their engagement with clients, in their engagement with people, simply in connecting with people, that true connection. And I support them to find a bit more of the foundations of their business. Because you would be surprised at how many people, even people that have successful businesses, and even people that I have a client that has 7 businesses, how much of the fundamentals are not yet fully in place. There's a lot that is in place, but it's very often that tweak or that tune or that one little thing that is not, that makes like all the difference, right?
Yeah.
So yes, I support people with that, and finding that let's say that 1% that makes all the difference. And lately, that 1% is in business owners. Most of it I find are people that are really, really good on their way, but at some point they feel like they want something more. They want to find their type of people, and they find that they attract the people that they love working with, but that are not the same in-depth type of audience that they actually hope to engage in. So yeah.
Awesome. That's great. In your business coaching, I'm sure there's a lot of competition. I've seen a lot of coaches, and I've seen that do a lot of great things. What sets you apart, and what comes easy to you, and that most people find challenging?
Well, I actually don't believe in competition. Does that make sense? I I truly think that people connect with me. As a coach, you have such a personal relationship with with the coachee that there is really no competition. You either are a match, you have a coffee with each other or a virtual chat, which I offer, and you love each other, or you think, well, they're nice, but this is not really a match. So I think that as long as you make sure that your point of view is known, that you put yourself out there, that people know your opinion about certain things, and that they can sort of figure out and feel into if they like you or not, that's what sets you apart. Now, then, of course, you have an entire toolbox. And I guess that it depends on which coaching training you did, which toolbox you had, and what you gained in terms of experience, tools, and strategies. So in my case, I am a Tony Robbins coach. I did his training, and I did an NLP coaching training. I did life coaching. I did mindset coaching. I've been in this business, of course, for 14 years now. Nice. And so my toolbox is massive. And that means that for everything that people need, I have something that can support them. So I guess that also sets me apart. And I think another thing that sets me apart is that I'm truly in it for the people that are in front of me. My energy, what makes me happy and what makes me get up in the morning is that smile on people's faces when they have a breakthrough, and that aha moment, and that, oh, that's the result I want. Oh, that's the vision I have. I love that. I love that. So yes.
So I like that. So if someone listening to the podcast wants to get better at that, what would you suggest to do? What tips would you give them?
Would you like to get better in coaching, or would like to get better
which you just mentioned?
Would like to get better in getting their energy up. Well, and looking. So I honestly truly believe in resonance, in vibration, quantum physics. If you want to take the non-spiritual route, I am spiritual myself, but there is, of course, a non-spiritual route for that, which is called quantum physics. I truly believe in vibration, and you have this whole inner world in your mind that is amazing. That's working for you if you make it work for you. So people that want to get up in the morning with energy and looking forward to their day, it's all about what you focus on. And so I start my day with positive thinking, basically, with activating that part of my brain that looks at opportunities, that looks at what we can do instead of what we can't. And so I often start with, for example, meditation. But I also have one of these little speakers in the shower that I put my music on. And sometimes I don't feel like doing a meditation, so I dance in the shower. And sometimes I just, don't feel like meditating or dancing in the shower, and I take a walk and I go outside, and I just, before I start my day, I make sure that I prime myself, which is, by the way, Tony Robbins, one of his big flagship strategies. Prime your day and make sure that sorry?
You got to have a process in the morning. What's your regimen? What do you do? What's your first things in the morning? So that sets your day. 100%.
Exactly. So yeah, for people that want to have that, make sure you raise your vibration. Make sure you come into your day with enthusiasm, so that the people that also have enthusiasm can feel that and can see that in how you are and how you how you comport yourself.
Gotcha. So thanks for all that. Everybody says raise your vibration. How do you raise your vibration? That's the big question.
Well, there's okay. So now there comes the toolbox. Let's see. How do you raise your vibration? The first thing is that whatever you focus on expands, right? That's like the rule of the universe. If I ask you to look around your room, and for everybody that is looking and listening, if you can take a moment to look around your room and check out everything that is blue, right? Mm-hmm. So now tell me, how many red things do you see? How many did you count when you were looking around the room?
I was slowly looking.
Exactly. There you go. So what you focus on expands, because I bet that you can count all the blue things and you can immediately say, oh, there were 6 blue things, right. But you have no clue about the red. And so what you focus on expands. And that is truly a way to raise your vibration. If you focus on questions like what can go wrong, or what risk is involved in this, or how will they feel about me when they see me, then you will start expanding those negative thoughts. And you will see, it's called confirmation bias, you will see what you think you're going to see. That's definitely one. So there's this positive thinking. Of course, you need to start with getting some awareness about what you are thinking. A lot of our thoughts happen in the back of our heads where we have no clue what is going on, like 9 out of 10. And that makes sense. Huh? If we would think every thought that we have consciously, that would be like, we would melt down like an old computer. We wouldn't be able to handle it. So examining your thoughts and try to get more of those thoughts to the foreground, and then looking at them and saying, hey, did this help me? Did this thought give me a positive outlook, something that I wanted to do in this day, or did it bring down my mood? Because if it brings down your mood, it brings down your vibration. Yeah. And so that's a good barometer, let's say.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. What is one of the biggest things or challenges you have to overcome in your career?
Yeah. Well, in my career, so before I started, actually at the same time as I started my business. So this is kind of a funny story. I was in big corporate companies, American corporate. And I'm sure that many of your listeners know how extremely high pressure those environments are and how toxic those environments can be. Mm-hmm. I was really good at my job. I really loved the team, but that pressure and that constantly, sometimes I would be the first to come in, the last to go out of the office. And I could do that for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. I wouldn't have a weekend. I wouldn't see my friends. I wouldn't see my family. And simply because the job needed so much from me. And so one of the big struggles that I had to overcome was, funny enough, so I was already coaching, and yet, you know how the painter's house is never painted? Well, my house wasn't painted, I can tell you. I had all these amazing tools already in my toolbox, and I was giving them to everybody else, and I wasn't applying them to my life at all. Nothing. So there was this 1 week where really everything sort of came at the same time. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. And there was one day that I had, there was a project that was canceled. I had some stakeholders that were really, really pressuring me. And I was waiting for a promotion and I didn't get that promotion. And all of that came in one day. And I finished my day really struggling with my emotions and wanting to hold strong. I was in an IT company. I've always been in IT companies. And that was sort of the culture. Like, you don't cry. Intuition cannot be put in a spreadsheet. And don't, emotions. So I held myself strong. I put on that mask. And then I went to the parking lot again, like at 9:00 in the evening. I sat in my car and I burst into tears. And it wasn't the first time, too, by the way, but for whatever reason, something snapped. And I thought, I have all these amazing tools and this amazing toolbox. Why am I not applying that to myself? Why am I leaving that and giving that away to everybody else? And why am I not using that for myself? I was using that for myself on a superficial level. And
Gotcha.
so
Helping everybody else out, but not yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I thought I was okay, and I didn't have what they had, and that's the funny thing, right? In corp, you can see everybody around you somehow is doing things way easier than you, and yet for some of the people, I knew that they were internally struggling, but I just didn't want to admit my own struggle to myself, I guess.
Right. Nobody does.
Yeah.
You're not alone. I don't like to talk. This one, I was talking to this one guy one time, and he said something to me about, tell me your problems. I said, no. And he said, why? So I tell you my problems, you tell me your problems. I got twice as many problems. And he goes, yeah, you're right. So let's not talk about the problem. Let's talk about the solutions. I said, now that's what I want to talk about.
That's a very, very good way of thinking, right?
Yes.
I mean, and I truly believe there is in every problem, like the one I had back then, that moment of, I need to change something, that there was a big gift in that. And I truly, honestly believe that life is always working for us. And that if we can get to find that gift in whatever situation is difficult, then that we get to have life work for us even more. So yeah, I got out of that one, and then I slowly, for a couple of years, I worked on myself, of course. And I worked on my business until my business was, there were so many people that I coached, that I couldn't do that next to my corporate job anymore. And so I started my own business. And actually that's where the second dip was, because I already had like a flourishing business, and I thought, well, I'm going to step out of corp. I'm going to start my coaching business, and that's it. And it's going to be great. And it was great. I mean, I had an amazing first year. And then on the second year, suddenly my business did. And I looked at it and I was wondering why, and I couldn't figure it out. And for the longest time, I couldn't figure it out. I think it took me like 6 months. And I was getting to a point where I had clients, and my regular clients, they kept on coming and they kept on booking. But I couldn't really connect to any new audience, let's say. And when we get back to that part of vibration, I realized that around a year and a half into my business, that I slowly was doing exactly the same as what I had been doing when I worked in corporate. I worked 80 hours a week again. I didn't sleep enough. My gym routine was somewhere non-existent. I skipped meals with my family and everything for the business. And of course, with that achievement mindset, people can like feel the stress like miles away. So yeah, they ran away from me. And I can imagine I would run away from me.
Yeah.
So yeah. Sorry, please.
No, that makes perfect sense. Like you're talking about vibrations, you set out vibrations and people either run for it or run to it. You know what I mean?
Everybody knows, when you're on the phone with someone and they're in that phone call, you're having a conversation. Like on LinkedIn, there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, why don't we have a coffee?" And I'm always for coffee. But I'm in the coffee to get to know the person. And of course, if people I say, "Hey, you're a coach. I have something with my business. Do you coach on that?" We check if we're a match. But that's not the reason we have a coffee. Because people can smell that you're selling to them a mile away. And they know exactly when you're doing, I'm trying to get you in, or when you're there just to have a coffee. And so if you look at all those meetings, it's, that's exactly what I did as well. It was that high achievers mindset that I need to be the best in something. I have a good running business, but let's see if we can double it this year. All those thoughts and all those unconscious behaviors and patterns and everything that I still had from when I was in corp, they kind of made my audience run away. And so they made my vibration that of a salesperson. You can imagine. I'm sure you've been in calls where you think, "Oh, this person is trying to sell," and what do?
Shut down. Most people shut down. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah.
Wow. Sounds like you're doing really good in your business. I mean, it really does sound like you're knocking it out of the park. Looking towards the future, what do you guys do for like creating passive income, or what do you do for investing with what you've created?
So the passive income is more like so let me see. The passive income comes from online courses at the moment.
Gotcha.
So there's a couple of products that I have running, and they just sort of. So I recorded them. Actually, I recorded them in this very room. So they're not that old yet. And so, membership areas, that type of thing. And that runs on its own. Of course, then you can reinvest that. So one of the investment opportunities that my company invests in is in. So I'm not an expert. Let me say that immediately. I'm not an expert at all. I have people figuring this out for me. I have a very good accountant, and he looks at all these opportunities together with a financial advisor. So don't take my word for it, but the rest is in ETF, which is like a sort of a. Thank you. You know that.
know a little bit about us. Yes, I understand a lot.
I don't, but it's amazing to have it work for you, yes. And to see the results of that.
Yes,
especially in the last months.
Yes, exactly. As we're wrapping up the interview, could you talk about your exciting plans and what you have coming up in the next 6 to 12 months?
So the next 6 to 12 months, I am organizing a couple of groups specifically for business foundations, which I am really excited about because usually groups come to me. So, for example, I now have a group of 6 old military colleagues,
Okay.
and a group of women in IT. But they formed a group and then they came to me. So this year, the coming year, I will be organizing groups myself because it's about time, and it's being requested so many times that at some point you just gotta give. I will be building on my YouTube channel, which I really, really enjoy doing. I love just paying it forward, and that's where I put like all this information on. And for me personally, I will be at the Tony Robbins events in Palm Beach. I think it is in next year, December, and in January. So that for me is like, I love to be on his events. I love to crew on his events. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And of course, to learning from him, because every time I'm there, there's something to learn and there's something to do. So yes.
I love Tony Robbins. He's brilliant, beyond brilliant.
Yes.
I understand how you're talking about. Okay, well, thank you very much for sharing your insights and just being on the podcast. We really do appreciate it. Could you tell everybody how to get in contact with you, and if they need some help in coaching, they could get in touch with you?
Yes, absolutely. So I have a website, coachingbycarolina.com, where people can book that 20-minute coffee that I just mentioned. They can book it there free of charge, of course. And I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn a lot. So people can always reach out via LinkedIn. I have an Instagram and a YouTube as well, but I'm sure you're going to put them in the show notes, right?
We're going to show them on album. Exactly. Thank you very much, Dale. I really do appreciate it. And it's really, I've interviewed a few people. I haven't interviewed somebody that's nomadic. That is crazy. And when you come to Palm Beach, give me a call. I am in Florida right now. So we're on the other side. We're at the coast. The other coast, on the Gulf side, we call it. And I might want to hit one of Tony Robbins' events too. He's brilliant. Gave us some coaching that you might as well do it, because he's not going to be doing it forever.
Yes, well, indeed, because he is. I can imagine that at some point, somewhere in the next 5 to 10 years, he will be taking a little bit more time off. So, yeah.
So I might want to experience it. So thank you very much. Really do appreciate all your insights and all your help on coaching. We haven't had too many coaches on, and you really seem to know what you're doing on that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And we'll let you go. Thank you very much. Talk to you guys later.